biggest position battles that are going to take place over the course of the next few weeks in East Tennessee are all three on offense.
Yes, I would say so. That defense, for the most part, I think is set. Getting Jamar McCoy back, it's going to be huge, too, whenever that is. Coach put no timeline on that one in general. But the defense, for the most part, they've had so many – because of the big rotation that Rodney Garner has up front, plug and replace. Like, that's just what they're doing at this point defensively.
Even with the loss of Jamar McCoy, and who knows when he'll come back for Tennessee this season, they have those guys at corner that they went out and got in Colton Hood in the portal and Ricky Gibson coming back. So offensively, starting with the quarterback position, how much of a favorite is Joey Aguilar to you at the moment? Like, how much is this his job to lose? Understanding he has to earn it on the field. Are you leaning any way or another when it comes to the QB spot at this moment, having heard Joey Aguilar talk, the context that he came in with and the experience he has under his belt?
I'm leaning, to be quite honest with you, in a different direction. I think publicly and situationally for Joey Aguilar, it puts him in a front position because this is his senior year, it's last year. He came over as a mid-spring transfer. You understand that. You understand that he probably got a nice bag because of it. The finances tells us that. And it's the sight unseen part of Joey Aguilar, too, I think that most of this fan base is hopeful of. You know how it is. Everybody loves a new kid in school. I feel like that's where Joey Aguilar at this point right there. How do you view him publicly without having seen him and understand what he is too, Lucas? How do you see him?
It's hard for me not to look at him as in the driver's seat for this starting job. Just with the context of how he came in and what he's done to this point in his career, I feel like a guy like Jake Merklinger would have to have an incredible camp for Tennessee to be able to take over. And I understand the challenge in front of Joey Aguilar. But the last time, and it's a different situation, but the last time Josh Heupel and his staff saw what they had in spring ball and then brought a quarterback in the portal, it was Joe Milton. And he had the same kind of path in front of him of the install, and he was handed the keys pretty quickly. He won that job in practice. Now, my question is, can this coaching staff find a way to where the guy who wins the starting job is the guy that's going to perform when the lights come on, which wasn't the case.
It wasn't
with Joe Milton and Hendon Hooker.
And that's where I am, honestly, with Jake Merklinger. I'm leaning towards Jake, to be quite honest with you. Having seen him in the close scrimmage that I saw him in and also in the spring game, he has, I don't want to say he has it. He has something that's very infectious, I feel like, and his ability to be an athlete, too, at quarterback. Of the three, because I hadn't seen a whole lot of Joey Aguilar, I think he's the better athlete for what this offense can do. I view him almost in the sense that he could be what Hendon Hooker was to Joe Milton, where you're surprised by it. And he can make plays. He can go downfield with it. He seemed to have good feel for the pocket. And the other part with what Jake is, he's at he puts the other guys at a huge disadvantage because he sat behind Nico last year, Nico Iamaleava. And everybody always loves the backup quarterback. You know how it is. Everybody, that's the homie right there. Like, I love him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he has that. And I feel like some of his teammates feel that for him, too. And he just seems to be a super cool dude. Like, Heupel's got him and Joey Halsley have a very hard decision on their hand. Do you go with what you think the team wants? And I think that could be Jake Merklinger, or do you go with the guy that you feel like is going to set you up for the most amount of success because he's played so much? This almost feels like Rick Clausen, Eric Ainge-ish in a sense. And we'll see if he said he's not doing the multiple quarterbacks.
Yeah, I told that to 3HL at SEC Media Days.
He said he's not going to do it. But some have speculated, don't be surprised if you see all three this year. I don't know what that means for the season if you're seeing all three of them. But I feel like it could end up being Jake. That's just me, and I'm probably on the outside looking in on just that take, just on how I feel like the team makeup of him being the quarterback would be.
Sure, and Merklinger has had 2 spring practices and a full season in this system, which Joey Aguilar has not. My question for you is, when it comes to what I believe to be the 3 most up-in-the-air position battles in this team, quarterback, running back, center, all 3 of those are in one way or another connected.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, they are.
Center snapping to the quarterback, handing off to the running back.
Yes.
How much of a challenge is it for this coaching staff to divvy up reps and find those best combinations when 3 of those positions that have the biggest question marks around them in terms of who's going to be the number 1 on the depth chart are center, QB, running back? on that direct line of one has to impact the other,
And they all got to work together, too. It happens, honestly, Lucas, in that first about 10 days of training camp. After about the first 10 days, then they got to start separating. Okay, you go with the ones today, and we're going to keep it that way for a while until you do something dumb. It's legitimately that. That's where we're at right now with what the Titans are doing. I feel like with James Williams, and Cedric Gray. Like, we're seeing how it's kind of sifting out a little bit more than we can speak about right now, but that's how it goes. It's about the first 10 days of training camp, and then you figure out this is how we're going to move forward with it, and it goes through their play. That's the beauty about sports is you get what you deserve. If you prove it, then it's yours. That's just simply how it goes in those moments. So the running back one's going to be super unique because they can have a rotation, although they don't like bringing guys off the field when they get a first down. So the center one is fascinating, because they got some high-quality guys and William Satterwhite. They have Sam Pendleton, who I think could end up being the guy. But then they got other guys like Jesse Perry, who's in that conversation that if Sam Pendleton goes to center, do you want him at guard or do you want him as a rotational tackle? Like, there's a huge void in trying to figure out those guys at that position. And also Nick Morris, another young guy that's in the mix for that center job too. I think it's going to be Sam Pendleton. Just my just unadulterated opinion about it.
Notre Dame transfer.
The Notre Dame transfer is played in big time ball in Notre Dame, helped that team get to the national championship and actually played too. He's big too. And I think that's something that they won't consider in what Cade Mays was up the middle.
You had a good sit-down with Sam Pendleton the other day.
Great conversation. That's why I nod and a wink.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I view him.
You like what he's made of?
I like what he's made of. He is, to me, what I think that O-line needs to is a mentality. Got a goon mentality. He wants to body you. He's walking around with body bags is what I'm saying. Like, he's that type. He spoke about his family dynamic a little bit. His dad owns a beef farm. He asked me, I was like, man, I want a quarter of a cow from you guys. He's like, listen, we started talking steaks and stuff like that. He's an outdoors type of guy. But he's got a sense of poise to him. Also got a twin sister that hoops, too. Okay. So he's always been competitive, man. End up at the end of the interview, I just want you to know, man, I'm a huge Steeler fan. I was like, you should have said that. Yeah,
should have led with that.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. You should have led with that, man. But Sam's got it. Now, figuring out who's going to be that right guard is going to be super fascinating, too, because they got, Shams Yomarov is in that conversation. Yeah. That middle three, I think, is going to be good. But Wendell Moy, I think, is going to get one of those spots. But that's going to be hyper-competitive.
By the way, how can people go and watch that entire conversation?
Not out just yet. I'll let it. We'll tweet it out when it's available. But it was good. I'm be honest with you. I was like, I like this sit-down interview stuff. This is kind of cool.
Yeah?
Yeah, but he was good.
And then at running back, I'm fascinated to see if Tennessee, who has run the ball very efficiently, very productively since Josh Heupel walked in there in 2021, if they continue on this path of having a lead horse at the running back position, the way they have with Dylan Sampson last year and Jalen Wright the year before that, or if it gets reverted a little bit back to those first couple years of the Heupel era, where it was much more by committee, where Jalen Wright and Jabari Small were fairly 50-50 with Dylan Sampson as that sort of auxiliary back. Obviously, the quarterback and Hendon Hooker could impact the run game. In 2021, you were talking about Jabari Small and Tyon Evans leading that charge with Hendon Hooker having a more productive rushing season. Deshaun Bishop is the lead returning rusher coming back. Peyton Lewis, we've seen play for this team. Star Thomas brought in the transfer from Duke. At this moment, understanding it's too early to make any definitive statements, do you have that hunch that Tennessee would prefer it to be a lead horse, or that they would be okay with all three of these guys in some way sharing the load?
I think they need a lead horse because you pick up the pass protections, and that's what it's probably going to come down to. If I would have to say, it may end up being Peyton because of the recruit he was, but the foundation that Deshaun Bishop has laid down, and I feel like just the conversations of how they speak about him, they love Deshaun Bishop. They love him. However he's worked and transformed his body. I think he was on he's a walk-on that was an NIL scholarship type of guy, so he kind of earned it on the team a little bit too, if I'm not mistaken. But, of course, what DeJuan Morris can turn into is your speed guy. They got a great just stable of backs, so I will say that. But the lead two dogs have to be 1A and 1B, and that's Peyton and that's DeJuan. And I don't know who's one. I feel like the coaches love DeJuan, but Peyton probably has the higher ceiling. Peyton Lewis.
This coaching staff hasn't given a lot of reps to freshman running backs in the past. We saw Dylan Sampson get opportunities. Peyton Lewis carried the ball 64 times last year. DeJuan Morris.
Electric. I saw it.
Yeah. A lot of people locally here at Oakland High School, I've done plenty of DeJuan's games. I know you've seen him in person, and I know you've seen him in Knoxville, former USC commit. But you talk about moving around in a phone booth, the change of direction. I wouldn't be surprised, I'm with you, if DeJuan Morris kind of stakes his claim as part of that rotation this year, bringing something that they may not have on that depth chart.
I can see him, especially in the second game, the home game against UT Chat, probably getting in and striking one home. That's the type of electric that he is. And nobody's catching him. Nobody's catching him.
Yeah. Brent Hubbs will join the show tomorrow. We'll check in on some of the early developments as Tennessee has hit the practice field. Titans have been on the practice field well over a week. And Coach Dave McGinnis is right there, front and center. We'll talk to Coach Mack coming up next on 104.5 The Zone.
Summer is a time to feel and look your best, but I'm not talking about your abs or tan, okay? Guys, I'm talking about your hair. Restore that bald spot, reverse your receding hairline, or add volume to thinning during Advanced Hair's once-year summer savings event. Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment begins to regrow your own natural hair the very next day, and they guarantee your new hair will grow, all right? There is absolutely no one in hair restoration I trust more than Advanced Hair. Take advantage of your flexible summer calendar and get the most hair for your dollar. Advanced Hair's summer sales event is on for a limited time, so get the details and schedule your free consultation today. You can call them at 629-348-HAIR. One-day treatment, life-changing results with Advanced Hair. Your new hair is guaranteed to grow. Check out the incredible before and afters and take advantage of the best offer ever. Again, the number is 629-348-HAIR or visit the website at advancedhair.com.
I love the sound of that music. I'm usually hearing it a little bit later in the week. Glad to get to it earlier this week as Coach Dave McGinnis joins us on 104.5 The Zone, presented by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Coach Mack, how are we doing on this Thursday?
Lucas, good. Hey, Ramon, what's up?
Matt.
Coach, for you, what was the focus of Wednesday's practice? What was Coach Mack taking in yesterday at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park?
Well, I'm doing these beneath the surface things from Microsoft, taking a deep look at it's going to be for Titans All Access. I mean, I've got a camera person and a producer every day. So, I mean, this part of this training camp, because of the position-specific stuff I'm doing for Microsoft and for Titans All Access, is very different than that. I'll start to get an overall view of this team once we go to Tampa Bay and go to Atlanta. But right now, I was with the offensive line yesterday. And, of course, I've spent, I'm with this team all the time. I mean, I've been at every practice since the draft. And so what they want me to do is go position by position and it is, as it says for Microsoft, beneath the surface, dig a little deeper into the individual drills, how the progression teaching goes, why they are doing what they're doing, how what they're doing relate to what's going on the field. And again, as I said, I've got a camera person that's also a producer that we follow them all. We follow that group all the way through practice and build on the progression teaching and see how it focuses on what that particular position is. So when you're doing that and talking for 2 hours, you don't get a chance to really see the overall view of it. So that's what I'm doing right now at this camp until we get all these positions done.
Coach Dave McGinnis of Titans Radio with us on 104.5 The Zone.
Coach Mack, speaking of the offensive line, man, it seems this year, before we even get into the starters, Mac, with you watching them yesterday, they've got a better quality, at least the earlier part of training camp, of backups that are battling for positions, Coach Mack. These guys have some dudes with some experience, some guys that have been here, and some young guys like a Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon who's making a way for himself. I'll be even more honest with you. I feel like the first couple of days we've seen a young guy, Jalen Duncan. I feel like he's taking another step. Coach Mago, how are you feeling about that second and third wave of offensive linemen that are competing for jobs?
Well, I think you're right in the fact that, I mean, that's the only way that you're going to be able to build an offensive line, and you can speak to this very well. You've got to get a group of guys that you've either drafted or you brought in as free agents that you can grow. I mean, that's extremely important. Now, you can fill in with free agents, and until you get your plan completely in place, you're going to have to do that. But I agree with you wholeheartely. I think the depth is better. What I like, and again, as I say, I start out every practice during the off season down there with Bill Callahan and the offensive line, because it's vital. I mean, it's a critical position. For any football team, but especially for this one. The thing that I've been impressed by, Ramon, watching these guys, I see really a lot of growth in those 2 number 1 picks that we've had. Mm-hmm. That's how you have to build an offensive line. Peter Skoronski, continues to improve. I thought he had a nice ending to the year last year. He just steady. And then what J.C. Latham has done with his body and moving over to the right side, he just looks more comfortable in his own skin, over there on that side. And to me, you're trying to build that group up, and those 2 guys have got to be the cornerstone of it right now. But I agree with your assessment of the fact that I think just the overall depth of it. Now, is it perfect yet? It's never going to be in the National Football League. I mean, teams are still looking for offensive linemen. You always will. There's not that many big humans walking the earth that can move. That's just the truth. Yeah. And to play that position, you understand it, but people don't understand. And that's, I spent all day yesterday explaining that the intricacies of that position and the way that group works, it's really, there's so much detail to it. It's very physical. It's very violent. But it's really nuanced and detailed when you start digging into it.
Coach Mack, I feel like they've opened up that offense just a little bit more with, you look at the group, the offensive line group that you spent time with yesterday, from top to bottom, they've all looked like they've reshifted their body types. How much flexibility, Coach Mack, when you have guys who are big athletes, even like a J.C. Latham at his size, and you look at what Peter's turned himself into also, to be able to move left to right, get around and pull and pin, Coach Mack. It's fun watching some of the things we could talk about. Those guys kind of open up this offense a little bit more, but having the ability, Coach Mack, to be athletic has to be a luxury for an offensive coaching staff.
Yeah, I worked that quite a bit yesterday, into that, and taking a deep dive into it. A lot of the drills that you do, it's not just banging heads straight ahead. I mean, there's a lot of space movement that has to happen, especially in this day and age of the National Football League. You talk about the pin and pull scheme. That's huge. Also, the screen game. The screen game starts with the athleticism of your offensive lineman being able to get out and find people in space and get a body on a body in space. I mean, the days of guys weighing 300 and 400 pounds and just staying sedentary on that offensive line of scrimmage, that's just not the way the game is played anymore. And you're 100% right. The thing that I like, and I think this entire football team, and I talked with Mike Bergonzi on the field at the early part of this training camp, and again, I was just making a comment that this is my 39th training camp.
Wow!
So I've seen a few guys come to camp, but it looked to me like they came back in really good condition, and to me, that something's going on as far as the program that they're working on, because you can really get a sense and a feel for your football team a little bit if you're paying attention as to how they look physically when they come back after 5 weeks on their own.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big, big part of it. And I thought this group, to your point, did a good job of that.
Coach Mack, the other part of this too is when you the response that you need to see on the practice field and training camp. I thought the defense had a really good first start to the padded practices. Offense yesterday, the run game opened up quite a bit, Coach Mack. That's a sign to me of the give and take that you need to see in those camp settings as it pertains to, it was your day Tuesday, it's our day Wednesday. What is the coaching staff's mindset when they see a response like that? That's growth in the right direction, correct, Coach Mack?
You just want improvement. You want improvement. Look, training camp, regardless of how it's set now, it's completely different than when I first came into the league. It's completely different than when you came into the league. But regardless of any of that, what you want, it's a grind, and you want daily improvement, and there's going to be ups and downs on both sides, and that's going to happen. But that's part of working through the grit of training camp. And so you're absolutely right. And here's the other thing. If you've never been involved in it, every day, and you can talk to it, the stress level on these players increases every day. Every day the stress level increases because they know that critical mass time is coming up pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
And as critical mass starts now, once the pads come on, it's going to reach another level once we get to Tampa Bay and we get to Atlanta. You know what I'm talking about. And so you are judged everything that you do. There's no other thing like it as to where every movement that you make is gone over and over and over again, not just by people that are watching the practice or watching the tape by themselves, but the angst of the players when they think they have not performed very well in a practice going into that meeting room. What's that feeling like, Ramon?
Man.
Right now I can see you going, because it's just, look, it's a very, very intense type of a thing, even though it's a great game, but it's a very, very demanding business.
Coach Matt, you bring up a crazy point right there, because it'd be probably by the end of this week going into next week where your point about the days, they're numbered as far as training camp to earn a job is so unique. We see the guys, basically, Coach Matt, quit on themselves. You know what we used to call them, Coach Matt?
No.
Dead man walking.
I've seen, did this for a lot of years and talked to a lot of young players, and when they would come in and ask me, what do I need to do? I said, the first thing you need to do is not cut yourself.
Yep.
That's the first thing you need to do. And then start working from there, because the mental grind of it and the anxiety of it a lot of times busts guys out of camp quicker than everybody that comes into a camp is in the top 1 or 1.5% of people playing this sport in the country. You don't get into camp if you don't have some kind of ability. The vetting process is too deep. It just doesn't happen. But the mental strain of it, Ramon, I mean, you can't even explain it to people.
No.
Because, but I've seen it break too many really, really good athletes that just couldn't take the grind of it.
That's fascinating, Coach Mack. It'd be like clockwork. The guys that see their reps go down or they had a bad day, dead men walking. That's how we used to refer to those guys. Not to their faces, but the understanding of like, yeah, he's done. He's waiting to go to another camp or go home. That's crazy. Lucas.
No, but see, I mean, you get a sense of it, and on the opposite side of it, you get a sense of those dudes that can fight through it, and you go, all right, this dude's got something to him.
Well, that's the hope for Cam Ward, right, at the quarterback position. Coach Dave McGinnis of Titans Radio with us on 104.5 The Zone. Teaching moments happening in the classroom after practice. In his words, Coach Mack, mid. When did you start hearing players use the word mid, by the way, to describe a practice? Is this the first for you?
I have no idea what that means.
So an improvement, Coach Mack, from what we saw from the quarterback on Tuesday, but in his words, not good enough. Where would you like to see Cam Ward and his progression as they head into joint practice next week in Tampa, given what we've seen from him so far?
I just want to see progress. There's no deadlines that you're going to set, on a young player, especially a quarterback. Just look for improvement. I mean, he doesn't have to prove anything to anybody but himself, and that's what's important about him right now. He's very, very self-aware. The rest of this stuff, he doesn't have a whole lot of outside noise going on. That's going to stand him in pretty good stead in his career.
As a head coach, how excited are you at this point of training camp to get to joint practice? How refreshing is it to get to that point where you're going up against somebody else where your players may not know what they're going to see, and it just can give you that extra step, that extra sample to help you prepare for the season?
Well, the first thing is, and I've done it before, I mean, I want to, get my guys ready for today and tomorrow. And so, you plan this stuff out because, it's just like what I'm going through with all these things that I'm doing for Microsoft. It's progressive teaching. It's also a progression when you're coaching. I mean, you're not looking forward, going, oh, you know what, I'm going to forget today. And I'm really looking forward, to 5 days from now when we're in Tampa Bay. It's daily improvement. This stuff has to take place daily, and it's to me as a coach, you live day to day, and you live day to day with the improvement of your players, up or down, up or down. It's a constant job to try to keep them on not only a level plane, but an increasing plane, but with some intelligence to it.
It seems like that's an easy thing to do with Cam Ward, keeping him on a level plane. It feels like he's always that way, just perpetually. So for Brian Callahan, for his offensive coaching staff, when it comes to these moments, a tip ball interception, a batted ball at the line of scrimmage, how do you take those in as an offensive-minded head coach? How valuable are those when you're watching that play and kind of stowing it away in your brain to roll back on film and watch later to go over with the quarterback? How much value do you place into the mistakes?
It's a learning situation. Just learn from it. Go on. I mean, you've never completed a pass that you haven't thrown. You got to throw them. You got to cut it loose and let it and learn from it. Progress from it. That's what you do. It's not a zero sum. Each play is not a zero sum thing, especially in training camp. Zero-sum plays start when you go into the regular season. That's why you've got to try some things out right now. This is the time, even as a player, technique-wise, try some things right now and get some things in your toolbox that you are going to be able to use as a coach, what you like to do is put your players in stressful situations, as stressful as you can in practice, so that once you get it honed down for game time, it's smoothed out. So to me, I mean, I would tell my guys, whether I was a head coach and coaching the entire team, whether I was a coordinator on one side of the ball or the other, a position coach or an assistant head coach that would talk to all the guys, take your instruction, take what you could do, and then just go cut it loose out there on the practice field, and then we'll figure out together what you can do best. But if you're always cautious on the practice field, you're never, ever, ever going to grow.
There you go.
No doubt about it, Coach Mack. It's a stressful time of the year for those guys, man, but it's beautiful, too, for the ones that make it, Coach Mack.
Well, hey, it's the greatest job in the world. It's a great game. It's a brutal business, but you've got to be able to work through it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coach Dave McGinnis, presented by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer, of Titans Radio, with us on 104.5 The Zone. Coach Mack, always fun. Appreciate the time, and we'll catch up with you soon.
All right, guys. See you. Have a good day.
Thanks, Mack.
There you go. Coach Mack with us on Ramon and Will. We are, of course, fueled by Scooter's Coffee. Lucas Panzica filling in for Will this morning. Glad to be with you guys. As we touched on this a little bit yesterday, Buck and I did, I don't think you guys have. So, Mo and I want to play you something, a very bold thing that was stated by a national voice on ESPN about the Titans rookie quarterback, and get your reaction. We'll do that next.
All right, for sure. It's Ramon Foster for Prince's Hot Chicken. Good people, Prince's is the Nashville hot chicken, man. It's been a staple in our community for almost 100 years, starting back at the first location on Jefferson Street as Prince's Hot Chicken Shack. Well, it has evolved into multiple locations all over Middle Tennessee. Here's the thing. You know them for the hot chicken and tradition, too, but they're also known for other things, too. They have also a vegan and vegetarian option, man, like the portobello wraps, the chickpea salad sandwiches, and more. And they cater from 15 people up to 1,000 plus. So no party is too large for them. You can customize anything from a high-end event to your tailgate event for this upcoming football season, sports season in general, man. Prince's Hot Chicken has you covered. And also this weekend, man, Prince's is doing something good, but from your father's foundation, too, and Brian's Motorsports, man. We are giving away, we're doing a back-to-school shoe drive to give back to the community, man. We'll be doing it this weekend at the Tanger Outlets in Antioch, man, at the Nike Outlet. We'll be giving away shoes. You can come through if you want to. Brian's Motorsports is going to have big trucks out there. It's going to be a great event, man. So if you're feeling generous and want to come out and give back to the community like Princess does, meet us this weekend at the Tanger Outlets at the Nike store to see some kids get some real cool kicks, man, as they go back to school this upcoming week. So again, for all your hot chicken needs, visit a Princess Hot Chicken around the city.
So it feels like Cam Ward, when it comes to the national media side of things, is either not talked about at all or is being talked about in the most drastic of ways. If we're to listen to what Jeff Darlington said on ESPN the other day, welcome back. It's Ramon and Will, brewed by Scooter's Coffee on 104.5 The Zone. Lucas Panzica hanging out with you guys today and tomorrow as Will Bowling takes a couple days off, of course, alongside 11-year NFL vet, Vol Network analyst Ramon Foster, Jayhawk, Justin Hawkins on the other side of the glass. That was Robert Walsh with a little cameo on his way out as we get asked what was that yelling sound on the FNM Bank chat where you can hang out, 104.5 The Zone TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. 615-737-1045 is how you jump in.
Bert was yelling? Come on, Bert.
Yeah, you didn't hear a little screech on the way out.
There. Yeah, I also heard a flick of a lighter. Too.
Yeah.
Like he's Lil Wayne or something.
Bert, what version, like if, I wouldn't even call him a great value Lil Wayne. Like what's below great value?
What's below great value? Lil Wayne? Baby Gronk? I don't know, man, at this point. He's just Bert. He's our guy. And I'm appreciative of the lighter he gave me, so we'll leave it at that.
He's going whitewater rafting this weekend. I don't know if he's going to come back from that.
He was breaking it down to me the other day about what he's doing and why and
Some heavy stuff.
No, Lucas, that's meant for insane people is what I'm telling you. Like, it has, the way he said you can fall out of the canoe, or is it a canoe or raft? Raft, I guess?
Rafting, yeah.
Raft. You can fall out and you just got to lay flat and just let the current take you. He's telling me the scales of 1 to 5 that he's going. And I think Bert is going to a 3 or 4. Lucas, I've seen the National Geographic stuff with this. I've watched it in movies and go. Want no parts of it. I want no parts of it.
Hope we hear from Bert on Monday after his whitewater rafting excursion.
Seriously. And he can be a sickly guy at times, too. Like, Bert, what are you doing, man? Like, going into the elements like this all the time. You know what I'm saying? Kills me, Small.
If you see him floating on the Ocoee this weekend, just make sure he gets back in one piece.
He definitely going to float. He like me. He going to float.
Oh, yeah. But Bert likes to float. Jeff Darlington on ESPN had this to say about Titans rookie quarterback Cam Ward the other day.
I hate the idea of what I'm about to say in some ways because C.J. Stroud and Jaden Daniels set a standard for rookie quarterbacks that I don't think we should have to.
Great point.
But Cam Ward reminds me in a lot of ways of Jaden Daniels. I know I shouldn't say that. I say it from the standpoint that he's walking in there. I was around the Titans. I was in that building. I was with the coaches. I was with Cam Ward. This dude is going to get the respect of the veterans in a way that Jaden Daniels does. He's got all of the intangibles and the pieces. It's so hard to be on South Park, Scott, because he just.
It's like, how can you not have the respect? Will Levis was your quarterback last year. Anything's better than that.
I just think Cam Ward's got it.
Parting shot from Bart Scott there on Will Levis. But Jeff Darlington, after spending a few minutes with the Titans, now we are in that time of year, Moan, where ex-national media personality, voice writer, whatever, spends maybe a day, a few minutes with an organization, then leaves with these big sweeping opinions. We saw it last year. Pete Prisco of CBS was at 2 Titans practices before writing a think piece about how Will Levis was going to be the next Josh Allen. So take it for what it's worth. But what is your reaction to hearing Jeff Darlington, NFL insider, calling Cam Ward the next Jaden Daniels?
He's a product of just thinking the NFL just pushes these guys out every year. We saw 2, well, we got to have a third one. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the way I feel about him saying that. He's missing context, I feel like, a little bit more than anything. That team had a good bit of, I feel like, guys that were stars in a sense that played a certain style of football and defensively that came together. The other dynamic part that I don't know if Cam has, he doesn't have Jaden Daniels' speed or the threat to run. That, to me, is the separator. You look at the way that defense was built, 3 years ago now for C.J. Stroud? I don't know if the Titans defense is built for that right now. That is a very interesting take. The best thing that he could say as far as Cam Ward, in my personal opinion, if he was going to go back and report nationally about that, is the AFC South is very opportunistic to win if Cam Ward has a good year. That should have been the headline. I just think the way the South is built right now, the biggest, I guess, hurdle is probably Houston in a sense. That would have been a better take than saying that he's going to have a breakout season like Jaden Daniels. That was a great year.
I think it's the best season in my lifetime, Moan. I think it's the best season by a rookie quarterback I've ever seen.
I'm thinking back. I don't think C.J. Stroud was as good as Jaden Daniels was. Yeah. What did he make it to? It wasn't an NFC championship game.
No, he did.
Game.
Yeah, it was the NFC championship game. One of 6 quarterbacks in league history to lead their team to a conference championship game. None of them have ever made it to a Super Bowl. He did it doing things that have never been done by a rookie quarterback, including the most rush yards by a rookie quarterback in NFL history. He broke RG3's record, also set, obviously, with Washington. It's just such an extreme direction to go.
It is.
And it's just weird conundrum with Cam Ward, Moan, where he might have the strangest lead up to a rookie season for a number 1 pick at quarterback in NFL history, or at least that I've ever seen, in that he's not overhyped.
Yeah.
He is not this Caleb Williams figure, right? Coming into the Titans where all eyes are on him. He's hardly discussed. He has a lower Madden rating as a rookie quarterback than Jamarcus Russell did. A lot's been made of that this week.
I saw that. Childish.
But when he is brought up on a national scale, expectations seem sky high. It's Jeff Darlington comparing him to the likes of Jaden Daniels. It's Louis Riddick gushing over him. And Louis Riddick is a football mind that is respected. And Louis Riddick does that based on what he has seen and people he has talked to. Like, he is not a hot take artist, but I just say that to remark on just the strange nature of the entire lead up to Cam Ward's rookie season, where he's either not talked about, totally overlooked, or he's going to be the next whatever, Mahomes, Jaden Daniels, some of the comps we've seen already.
Yeah, no, it's if this team was 8-9 this year, do you feel like they won a Super Bowl with what Cam could be moving forward? I don't see this as a huge breakout. He's not even the favorite right now to win Rookie of the Year. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot going up against him. I feel like Jaden Daniels came out with that hype somewhat where people just like, I don't know, y'all better watch this. I don't know if Cam has that component of the lead up to the season. The national respect, he's going to have to go earn it too. And the other part for him is the team makeup of where they were last year versus Coach Callahan being in the second year as a full-time head coach. Dan Quinn being in Washington is a different conversation, right? Like the support that C.J. Stroud had as a play caller in year 1 for him was, I feel like, a little bit better than what we saw from Cali last year, if we can be quite honest with you. The receivers that he's had, like, there's a lot that has to go into the how and the whys. There's no Terry McLaurin here, respectfully.
Yeah.
You know, like, Calvin's good at what he's doing, but, man, it's scary Terry for a reason. You know what I'm saying? And the components around it is a lot that has to play into the why those guys also became very successful. And the other part of it is this AFC South defensive lines that he's got to go up against is competitive with almost every other division in the NFL at this point. So it's not a one-to-one on this one. I love Darlington for, playing the hype train and however he's trying to go about it. But that wasn't the take to make on that one. Respectfully, I say that to Cam, too.
An extreme one. The good thing that and Sue Ann points this out in the FNM Bank chat, I don't think Cam cares. I don't think this stuff affects him one iota. And that's a good thing for the demeanor that you want out of your rookie quarterback, your potential franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
We have football on our TVs tonight.
Yes, we do.
The Hall of Fame game. The NFL preseason kicks off tonight. What is there to watch for as the Chargers take on the Lions in Canton? We'll take your phone calls on it, 615-737-1045, and we'll talk about it. Hour 3 coming up next on 1045 The Zone.
At Genesis Diamonds is not just in the name. Diamonds are in their DNA. They dream about diamonds. They obsess about diamonds. Diamonds are their life, okay? They go to the ends of the earth to get the best diamonds. They look at 100 colors and pick just a few of them to bring back to the showroom. They make sure that every diamond has a certain sparkle and brilliance. They have every diamond graded by the world's most prestigious gem labs. They look beyond the 4 C's to guarantee it's not just acceptable, it's extraordinary, okay? The experts at Genesis are passionate about Diamonds, and they will show you all the inside tips and tricks on how to maximize your value. You're not going to get this level of quality or expertise at any other store. Certainly not at one of those big corporate chains either. Genesis is your source for hand-picked GIA-certified diamonds at the guaranteed best price. They'll have ovals, rounds, princess cuts, emerald cuts, heart shapes, pear shapes, cushions cuts from a half a carat to 20 carats for you big ballers out there, man. And to properly showcase these exquisite diamonds, Genesis has the designer settings that other stores can't get. All the big-name bridal designers have hand-picked Genesis as their trusted partner. It's a no-brainer. Genesis is the source here for a ring you can be proud of, whether you're getting married soon or have been together for decades. Genesis Diamonds, no compromises, and they're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
It is 8:01. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. NFL returns to the gridiron tonight as the Hall of Fame game is being played between the Los Angeles Chargers and Detroit Lions at the Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium in Canton, Ohio. Chargers head coach Jim Harbaugh announced this week that Trey Lance will get the start at the quarterback for the Chargers, and for the Lions, Hendon Hooker is expected to get the start at quarterback. Kickoff is set for 7 p.m. Central Time on NBC, and you can hear that game right here on 104.5 The Zone, courtesy of Westwood One. And Tennessee Titans news: the Titans are off today, but they'll be back at practice tomorrow morning at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. Yesterday, rookie quarterback Cam Ward spoke to the media after practice and talked about where the offense is to this point in camp.
I just think we're very mid right now, from my position to up front to the receiver's position. But at the end of the day, it all starts with me. I just don't think we're at where we need to be, but we got a little bit of time. And so every day we get better as a whole. We're a young team, but that's no excuse. At the end of the day, we got to come with the right mindset every day and come to work.
Also, the Titans yesterday tried out several players in yesterday's practice, including 2 kickers, Cade York and Michael Hughes. York was with the team in 2023, and Hughes is an undrafted rookie out of Appalachian State. They should take part in some of the preseason games. In other NFL news, the Las Vegas Raiders and left tackle Colton Miller reached an agreement last night on a 3-year, $66 million contract extension that includes $42.5 million in guaranteed money. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hour number 3 off and running. Ramon and Will on 104.5 The Zone. Lucas Panzica hanging out with the 11-year NFL vet, Ramon Foster, Justin Hawkins, making it happen. Glad to have you with us on this Thursday morning. Had to remember what day it is. As a player, how much do the days just run together in camp?
Every day runs together in camp. Every single day. And Lucas, there's no end to it. The only break you get is hoping, Lord, you be praying when the schedule come out, that the first preseason game is an away game because you break camp essentially sooner. If it's a home game, you stand in the same dorm room doing the same stuff. You don't get the hotel stay. You get none of that, Lucas. It is miserable. Do you hear me? You heard Coach Mack speaking about it. The vets go through it too. It's like, when does this crap go in? Like, it's that part of it, which is, again, you got to have the mental fortitude to deal with the day in and day out. It's not the physical that gets you, Lucas. It is mentally, can I go do this again? My feet hurt. I got this scratch on my arm right now that shouldn't bother me, and it's bothering me. I jammed my thumb yesterday. My hip hurt because the defensive lineman hit me in the side of it, and we sucked yesterday on offense. Like, it's so much. And then if we are trash again, I got to go hear from the head coach is going to call us all out again. Then I got to go to meetings for 2 hours to hear the coach complain and just moan and groan about every single thing else. It is Lucas. And then we got another one tomorrow.
Very mid right now.
Yeah, Lucas.
Robert and I were talking after practice yesterday. We were back here at the station, came straight back here after the show, and we're just like, man, I'm tired. Yeah, it's exhausting just being out there for a few hours. We're like, no, we weren't even doing anything. We're just standing on the sideline.
Very mid right now.
We're talking into a microphone.
Oh,
so I can't even begin to relate to what you're saying. But I'm taking your word for it. Now, as a starter, because the Hall of Fame game is tonight. Yeah. Football on your televisions tonight, on your radio, courtesy of Westwood One, right here on The Zone. Coverage starts at 7 p.m. Lions and Chargers in Canton. And your only Hall of Fame game experience with the Pittsburgh Steelers was when you were a starter. You didn't play in the Hall of Fame game. No. But is that something that you enjoy seeing on your preseason schedule?
No.
No?
Heck no, absolutely not. We go to camp way before everybody else. And like I said, July feels like the longest, hottest month that you ever have to deal with in your life in training camp. I don't care if you're in New England. I saw in Boston, I feel like last week, they were still in the 60s, just so you know. Like,
oh, that's nice.
That's what I said, Lucas. Like a high of like 75. Like, I'm looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers training camp. These dudes are wearing long sleeves. Like everybody, like leggings, long sleeves, and arms, long sleeves. And it's because they're dealing with like 82s. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the weather for the day and stuff. But even still, there's some days where it's just swampy. You're in the middle of the field. It's hot. There's probably rain the night before, so the grass is saturated a little bit. And then on top of that, you got to go to training camp sooner. That means I got to get beat down longer. And then I got to go to meetings for longer. And it's just the longest stretch of, I ain't going to say it's for nothing, but when you're a starter in that moment right there, it's just like, I got to go fight this guy every single day for maybe one series or none for a game. And then on top of that, where we had to travel on buses over there, Lucas, and it was just to Canton. And it was by far it wasn't the worst, it wasn't a bad experience. But it was just like, yeah, this is a bit too much right here.
Y'all had a pretty crazy situation with your kicker in Canton.
We did, Sean Sweesom. And we went out there and we saw it beforehand. The field at that time was matted. I think they had high school games there. There may have been some exhibition games there. It was just the turf was horrendous to where it didn't feel safe. You walked on it, Lucas, and it felt like it was concrete, because it was so matted down. And we didn't play in the game. We walked out there and coach was just like, yeah, the starters aren't going in this one. And, of course, the guys who are on special teams, you only usually have one kicker. The starting kicker is going to kick every single time, too. Sean Sweesom goes down at the time and kicks off. And he's running downfield. It may have been a warning given to him. It's like, hey, just kick it and move over here with us. Well, he goes down and the turf, you got to blame the turf, was so bad. He ended up making a cut and tore his ACL. Oof. Ended his career at that point. Non-contact moment right there. Didn't even hit anybody from my recollection. And he goes to the sideline, ends his career. We have to scramble and find another kicker. I think we end up signing like Josh Scobie. A few other guys trying to figure out how we were going to survive.
You didn't throw your name in the hat?
No, I didn't at that. They weren't doing flag.
Former kicker Ramon Foster.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's on my resume, too.
Ripley High School.
Of me playing O-line and doing that was a little bit weird at the time. But at that moment for him ended up changing the way turf regulations are now. If I'm not mistaken, he has some legal stuff behind that to fight it, because he felt like the turf wasn't fit enough for NFL players to be playing on that. And to be quite honest with you, I didn't think nobody did at the time thought that we should have been playing on that turf. Mm-hmm. And now, if I'm not mistaken, there are turf and grass inspectors for every home game that's played on the NFL field now because of that. The turf has to be acceptable. That's the reason I think the Titans changed theirs out to, as expensive as it is, to a more acceptable turf, and it has to be it has to pass regulations for players to play on those fields because of his situation. I think he may have had a lawsuit behind that one at the end of his career. So, yeah. Guys, are we babied? Yes. Do we need to be in positions where guys can play and feel safe about it? Absolutely, too.
Yeah. It's come a long way since then, the Hall of Fame game in Canton. And tonight, for what it's worth, there's some local appeal there with a QB2 battle happening in Detroit. Hendon Hooker versus Kyle Allen for the backup spot behind Jared Goff as the Lions take on the Chargers tonight. Again, coverage starts right here on the Zone at 7 p.m., courtesy of Westwood One. What do you want to see out of Hendon tonight as he scraps for that spot? And it's a position that he hasn't been able to hold down consistently in Detroit. They needed to go get Teddy Bridgewater off the couch, off the sideline, coaching his alma mater in Florida to come in for the playoffs and be that team's backup. What do you need to see from Hendon Hooker tonight? To look like he's progressed from the Heupel offense, respectfully. Hendon's playing for himself and also the offense of Josh Heupel is the way I look at this one. Can he validate himself as an NFL quarterback to operate in the NFL system versus the spread stuff that he was doing in college? Does his feet look settled? Can he sit, scan left to right to left and find his target? Will he, if he chooses to, show his athletic ability to run out of the pocket and make plays down the field? Not that he's competing directly with Jared Goff, but it needs to look like he can handle being the guy. This is year 3 for Hendon? 3? Yes. Yeah, drafted in 2023. One last year for 3. Joe. Yeah, this is year 3 for him. Look like a guy that can be somebody's either backup or bridge moving forward if Jared Goff goes down. Like, this is a big test for Hendon, even in the game 1 of this, because I would expect Jared Goff after this week will probably start to, trickle in with some reps in the preseason matchups and stuff like that. And on top of this, been a new offense for him too, for the most part. Hendon's got to command a lot. Hooker and Allen have been reportedly splitting the second and third team reps in Detroit, who, by the way, are breaking in a new offensive coordinator, breaking in a new defensive coordinator. And you'll get the first look at those play callers tonight for what it's worth. We understand it's the preseason game. It's the Hall of Fame game. So I don't think there's going to be any glaring takeaways on what Detroit's offense is going to look like in the post-Ben Johnson era. But I think a lot of people locally will be locked into what Hendon Hooker is doing tonight. Apart from that, Hendon Hooker aside, how much of the Hall of Fame game do you have to watch to be a sick individual? Like, at what point are you sitting and watching the Hall of Fame game? At what point in the game do you think somebody can qualify as a legitimate sicko when it comes to something happening on July 31st in the NFL preseason?
If you stand through halftime and watch the second half, you're a sicko.
I agree. I think at any point, if you're watching the game and it's the third quarter on that scoreboard and you're watching the game, I think I'm with you.
If you can make it through the commentary, which there won't be much at halftime, if you can make it through the starter that you probably never heard of at right guard, a wide receiver that's 7th on the depth chart, and you're watching him and you're tweeting about, Alexander Kipple is making a play. It's like, what? No, you are a true sicko. If you are live tweeting after halftime about the production that this offense hasn't dropped off from, you are a sicko, is what I'm telling you, okay? If it's background noise, cool. Lucas, that person needs to be examined.
Well, listen, Jonathan in the FNM Bank chat says, it's me, I'm a sicko. That's why we love you guys. I'm going to be watching tonight. This is going to be interesting for me tonight. I always have the Hall of Fame game on in the background. I usually don't have to be up at 4:35 in the morning.
That's true.
Can't wait to hang out with you again tomorrow morning on this show from 6 to 10 a.m. But we'll see how long I make it with the Hall of Fame game tonight.
If you place a bet on this, are you a sicko?
Oh, yeah, that's a slam dunk. But again, Lions -2. Zach on the FNM Bank chat, Zach Lyons of Cover 2 with Blaine and Zach, says he's watching for Isaac Tesla highlights. I said that correctly? Isaac
wide
Tesla?
receiver, if I'm not
That's
mistaken.
Right.
Yeah.
Brent Doherty has chimed in, says he's a sicko. Taylor says he wants to bet the spread. Tesla, the former Arkansas receiver. Third rounder in Detroit. And Zach, when it comes to the draft stuff, I know Zach's a sicko, so I know he'll be watching for some of those draft crushes.
It is. You know what's gotten me away from it, man? This is the veteran in me when I became a vet in the NFL, and I can admit there were teammates that I chose not to remember their names because it's when you're in the league for such a long time, Lucas, there's such a rotation, a turnstile when it comes down to the amount of players that come in. Man, I became really good friends with this guard over here. Y'all cut him? Why? I liked him. And then there's a new guy coming in, and then there's a new defensive player that comes in. So I somewhat conditioned myself to not really learn as many guys until that last week when it becomes, your career on the line. And that's probably bad. I'm probably a bad human being teammate for that type of stuff. But Lucas, it's such a turnstile of players in and out that those games toward the end, man, y'all got some sunflower seeds. You got barbecue or ranch. Can I get some? What are we eating at halftime? And that sucks. But that's why I tell guys, you don't like it, become a starter.
615-737-1045. You can control what you can control. Andy in Clarksville is up next to chime in. What's up, Andy?
Good morning, gentlemen. So yesterday while watching the Titans training camp, someone says, hey, we've got NFL games tomorrow night. Someone says, who's playing? The best response I heard was the I don't know versus the it doesn't matter because I'll be watching the game regardless. And as a weird 104.5 The Zone mesh moment with me, my son's going to be whitewater rafting this weekend on the Ocoee, so I'll tell him to keep an eye out for Bert.
Oh, please. That'd be great.
You know what I wanted to ask? I was going to ask you, Andy, are you Robert's dad? Okay, because you said your son. I was like, I don't know many other people who whitewater rafting, man.
Well, my 15-year-old son's going for, I think it's the third time with his church youth group.
Wow.
Very cool.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's
thanks for the call, Andy. We've established, too, on the show with Buck and Bert that Jerry Jones is Robert's father. I don't know if we have that drop lying around back there anywhere, but it's been claimed, at least Robert's, he's tried to claim it in the past. That's good. We have a chaperone. Even if he's 13 years old, he can keep a watchful eye on Robert Walsh.
Easily, man.
You see him, the beard sticking out of the water, hippo mode, floating down the Ocoee, please let us know. 615-737-1045.
It's just little Bert, Big Boss Bert.
Big Boss
Bert, floating down the Ocoee. Ramon Foster sat down with Dan Moore Jr., the Titans' new left tackle, yesterday. After practice, we will hear that conversation, offensive lineman with offensive lineman, coming up next on 104.5 The Zone.
It's Ramon Foster for Medical House Calls. Good people, it is that time of the year where we are about to get busy with sports, our schedules, kids going back to school, and you just don't have time, which is why I'm telling you to go to Medical House Calls right now if that's you, because they can set up an appointment for you directly to your house. You can call or text them at their phone number, 615-838-2375. Call or text them at that. And it's because, again, you got to be on top of your health this time of the year. We go to these tailgates, we have a good time, we stay up late. Well, guess what? They have mobile IV therapy for you, too, and it's the best at getting you back to yourself. From fighting the flu to performance-enhancing cocktails, their nurses will come to your door, administer IVs, and help you get better and feel better fast. If you're also feeling fatigue, persistent illness or injury, difficulty focusing, or just being productive, there's IV therapy for you. Also on the athletic side of things, we get up early, go to the gym. They have athletic recovery, immune boosting blends, rapid rehydration, or energy boost too that will help you get back to your best. Whether you just need an infection taken care of, injuries, or in-home labs, Medical House Calls is for you. The best part is it's on your schedule at the time that you need to at your home, so it's very convenient. Again, visit medicalhousecalls.com or call or text them at 615-838-2375.
Tackle play, been an issue for a few years now for the Tennessee Titans. And the hope is they can get back to league average, get back to a place where it's not a constant liability. And one of the people tasked with that is Dan Moore Jr., the free agent signing of the offseason.
Yes.
For the Tennessee Titans, former Pittsburgh Steeler. Someone you know well, Ramon Foster, got a chance to catch up with.
Watched him a lot. We talked a little bit earlier. I did not play with Dan, didn't share the same locker room with him. He came in and you saw, was it 21?
He was drafted in 21. He was drafted almost exactly a year after you officially retired.
Yes. And he was a part of that new wave of young guys they were bringing in. Dan came in, man, as a fourth rounder. It was a day one starter. That doesn't happen often. It says a lot about how he gained that position, but also what the coaches thought of him. Having known that organization, how hard they are on players, especially young guys, a tip of the cap go to somebody who's a mid-round guy who's a day one starter like that. Every game that he's played in, he started. Before we even get to the conversation, no, I did not ask him about the 12 sacks. If you were looking for that answer, I think you get that answer from him and the stuff that he said as it pertains to how Coach Bill Callahan goes at them and challenges him. And without disrespecting his offensive line coach in Pittsburgh, Pat Meyer, I asked him the differences between Bill Callahan and Pat Meyer without naming or, alluding to the fact that he was trying to pile on the guy, nothing like that. But the knowledge that he spoke of that Coach Bill gave him, it speaks volumes a little bit in it. And it was a good conversation. We two guys talking ball is what it turned into. We could have gone, Lucas, for another 30 minutes just chopping and talking ball there.
Well, let's listen to it. Ramon Foster catching up with Titans left tackle Dan Moore Jr. yesterday after practice.
Dan, welcome to Tennessee, man. What has the adjustment been like for you coming from a new system into learning an entire new playbook? Or was there much similarities in what you had to take in and now do in training camp?
Yeah, I mean, I would say universally plays are pretty much the same. It's just different names of things. Really just getting a feel for Coach Callahan, Bill, that is. And Big Bill, that is. And, just getting accustomed to, his terminology, the way he likes to coach certain things, the way, you know how it works in offensive line play. Outside zone is outside zone, but it could be ran in numerous different ways depending on how that coach coaches it, whether he's one of the guys to shuffle and stay square off the ball, whether he's got one guys to run off the ball. So just getting accustomed to Bill and his terminology and just how he wants things to function.
No doubt about it. So speaking of Coach Bill Callahan, what has it been like learning from him? You had a different coach before, and is there more detail? Is there stuff that you had to sit back in meetings and go, oh, this is why? Because when you speak about Coach Bill Callahan, he's a guy that he knows it. So what has it been like learning under that?
Yeah, man. Coach Callie, he's filled with so much information, man. First of all, he's a lot more intense, a lot more hands-on, extreme technician, most definitely. But there's certain little nuances and things that he's teaching me, like with hand fighting and different things. And, like, he just said something the other day, 2 days ago, and I was just like, wow. Like, I sat back and I was like, wow, I never thought about it that way. Like, I've always tried to defeat a move this way. And he told me, like, just rotate your thumb. And it's like, dang, why did I never think of that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but rotate your thumb.
Bro, it's real things like that. Like when a guy grabs your wrist, like instead of trying to replace it, rotate your thumb down. And, that was something that just clicked and hit me like, wow, bro, I never thought about that. But that's every single day, man. I feel like he's adding to my game and really helping me progress as a player.
With the challenge of coming in as a free agent, what was something that you wanted to do that you've done in Pittsburgh? I've heard about you. I've watched you for years as it pertains to how you play. I was told your leadership is high. I think your run blocking gets underrated, and just your ability to bring stability to the left tackle position, man. What was your goals coming into this room that's new, young, and also just vibrant with a whole lot of energy?
Yeah. I mean, I think they got a hard-working mentality. These guys know how to work. They want it. Like you said, it's a good young group. They got some energy. I think the biggest thing that I'm trying to bring is just some confidence and swag in this group. I don't know if they're used to, to just being in those winning positions. And when you got such a talented group and you haven't had a chance to shine, sometimes it can mess with your mental. Mm-hmm. And just keeping those guys up, helping them to trust themselves and believe in themselves. And really, like I said, just owning the fact that, you know, we dogs out here and we got to carry ourselves that way. And like I said, just mainly instilling that and bringing a sense of confidence and swag to where every time we step on the field, the other team feels that.
You are playing next to a guy named Peter Skoronski. I've nicknamed him Big Skull. Okay, it's just going to stick, and I'm going to make sure it stick too. He's going into that third year where you know, like, the first year is your welcome, your adjustment year is year 2, and 3 is where you become a pro, man. What has it been like working next to him and watching him try to make that next step too with you guys working beside each other now?
Yeah, it's been so easy, man. Pete is so smart, bro. It's funny because a couple years ago, I feel like I was in his position when we had Isaac Samalu came over to Pittsburgh. Right. And the vet he was to me and how he helped me and progress my game, I just feel like I want to do that for Peter. I feel like he has so much potential, man. He's such a good player, very underrated guard, and I think he has the potential in a year or two to be the, or if not one of the highest paid guards in the league. And I just want to try my best to help him achieve that, man.
I saw you guys yesterday was a little bit different. Run period. I feel like the defense earned it. Okay, to admit, today, different story, man. Mentality coming out in day 2 and pass.
Yeah, we wanted to come out and jump on them, man. Like, yesterday was a little sloppy. Just some technique things. You know how it is coming off in pads. First day, you want to kill people. You running off the ball. You whiffing on blocks and stuff like that. Today, we were able to calm down, get in the film room yesterday, tweak some things, and I really think we took the meeting room to the field today and made those adjustments.
Speaking of the technique, it looks like you have a few guys, just from my perspective of watching it, trying stuff out. How much freedom is given for you guys to fail, to be in a position, say, this worked, this doesn't work?
Yeah, I think Bill is just wanting us to go out there and just be aggressive. Whatever we do, he's wanting us to just be technical in what he teaches us, as long as we have a plan. I think that's the biggest thing. If you go out there and you're just setting, or you're just going out there and you're just kind of lackadaisical going through steps, he's going to be pissed off. But if you go out there and you tell him, like, hey, this is what I was thinking, this is what I was trying to do, okay, cool. Just go a little bit faster or just a little bit shorter, not so far, you know what I mean? So, I mean, he always tells us, like, don't be afraid to lose. Like, you're going to lose out here, you're going to get beat. But if you're playing passive, you're going to get beat more often than if you're being aggressive. So that's the mentality going in.
You guys got an OG vet, man. Kevin Zeitler on this squad, too. You got JC moving over to the right side. What can Zeitler also do for a young fella like JC that's in somewhat the same position you were with getting Isaac Seumalo in Pittsburgh?
Yeah. When you got a young guy like that who's just so vibrant with energy, he's so new to it, he's always here, you know what I mean? And when you have a vet like that that's seen everything, that's been in those tight games, those overtimes,
and has also helped rebuild Detroit, Cincinnati,
and like he's been with losing teams, he's been with winning teams, you know, he's seen just a bit of everything. When you have an older guy like that next to a younger guy who can kind of keep him level-headed, not let him get too high in those moments, not let him get too low in those moments, I think mentally he's going to help JC a lot.
No doubt. And, of course, number 1 overall pick, Cam Ward. What is he like from you guys' perspective? The way he deals with the wide receiver, totally different. Those guys got to come to him. He got to come to y'all. What has that back and forth and relationship been like with having him in the building and how he's carried himself?
Yeah, Cam has got a lot of energy, man, which is super surprising. I feel like the first time I met him, and just his overall aura, I feel like he gives off that he's a little bit more quiet, but he's not. He talks, bro, and when he's out on the field and when he's competing, man, and Jeff is out here messing with him, mouthing at him, you know, he sits there and talks with him back. And sometimes I'm just wanting to be like, Cam, be quiet and listen to the play. But you know what, man? I feel like it's good, bro. And I think that it's good for the offense because we going to feed off of that energy, and we need that, you know, in games. Like, I love what he's bringing. And I love the mindset that he's bringing. And I love the confidence that he's coming in the huddle with, regardless of whether he knows what to do or not. I mean, he's a rookie. It's things are going to happen. We're going to have our ups and downs, but just the overall confidence, the overall leadership initiative that he's taken, has really impressed me.
I've heard you were that guy in Pittsburgh that you want to lead the charge. You mentioned him talking trash. I've heard you got that too. I say that because when you win, you have success, you gain that ability. I was telling my co-host earlier, I was telling Will, I was like, I would tell guys the play is coming right here.
Yeah.
How much confidence does that mean for you guys to get on the same page throughout camp to finally get to the games and say, we're going to call our shot? Coach, we're running it to close out this game.
Yeah. I think first off, we just need to try to find our identity as an offense. That's going to be the biggest thing. I think once we do that and we figure out our strengths and weaknesses, and the main thing is we got to gel as an offensive line. And you know how that is. We got a few new pieces in this year, and I think that's the main thing is having that offensive line gel. And that's really where I want it to be led. That's where it has to be led up front. Mm-hmm. Like you said, running the ball to close out games. Hell yeah, I want to be in those positions to be able to tell Coach, hey man, run this, you know what I mean? That's definitely the overall goal.
No doubt about it. I see you got you guys in space. You're an athlete. All of y'all are. Everybody's reshaped their bodies, man. How cool was it to train with some of the guys? I know you was with Peter and also JC this summer to see that payoff actually look like it in practice.
Yeah, it was extremely cool, man, especially just to hang out and, get that bond with both of those guys. I play right next to Peter, and then obviously JC being the other tackle on the other side of me. Like I said, it was extremely fun, not only just training with them and getting better, honing in on our craft, but also getting that bonding experience and be able to spend time with your brothers. That's unlike anything, that goes without being said. Those things are unmeasured.
Last one for me on the light tip. First fight in the joint practices go to who?
We talking about winning, losing?
In general, who's throwing the first punch on y'all's side?
No comment on that.
That's the question. Again, smart offensive lineman, man. Never incriminate yourself. Appreciate you, Dad. Absolutely, man. That's beautiful.
That's Ramon Foster sitting down with Dan Moore Jr. after practice yesterday. A guy who seems comfortable at this point. Got his feet under him in Tennessee.
And that's the biggest thing with Dan, too, is like I said, I didn't ask about the 12 sacks. He gave that answer as to the why, how Coach Bill Callahan attacks that. For the ones that missed, his answer essentially was this. Coach Callahan is the type of guy that if you have a plan and can explain that plan to him, then he's okay with it. Dan's ability to subtract away from that number of last year, the 12 sacks that PFF contributed to him, is what is your plan this week for the guys that you're going to be playing up against? And that's why I was asking him about, the previous coach he had played for in Pittsburgh versus Coach Bill Callahan. And he said even now, he's only going into his 5th year. He said he's still learning stuff from Coach Bill Callahan where he'd sit back and was like, oh, I never thought of that. He was talking about how a guy grabs his wrist instead of dropping your hands and spinning around, is dropping your wrist and shooting your hands back on them. These are the intricate parts of growth in the NFL from year 1 to year 2 to year 5. I always say the sweet spot for pros is years 4 through 8. That's when you really go into that next phase. And Dan is getting to that point right now. The contract justifies that, whether it be the market or the idea that he played himself to go get $84 million. Think about that. If he was trash, he'd be in a position where he found himself respectfully like Andre Dillard. You know what I'm saying? So that's the other part of it. Clearly the Titans see something in him. If you feel just as good about Cody Barton, you somewhat got to feel somewhat good about what Dan Moore is, because it's the same staff that evaluated these guys and chose to bring them in. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect, but he explained to me that Coach Callahan asks you, what is your plan and why? So if your plan didn't work, now we explain how to correct your plan into what I want you to do as a player. And that is so unique, man, that he employs those guys to go do what they want to and have the ability to play how they want within the confinement of what the offensive line should be doing. That was a good conversation about Dan. He gave the answers if you listen to what he had to say in those moments.
I mean, he's the first tackle that Bill Callahan has worked with here since arriving in Tennessee that has any sort of baseline or foundation as a starter that's had some level of success in this league, right?
Yeah.
J.C. Latham was a rookie last year. Mm-hmm. He didn't have that foundation. He started to build it. Nicholas Petit-Frere did not have that foundation, and we saw it crater last year. So now Bill Callahan goes from that to having bookend tackles that have that to build on this year. But for you, what is a reasonable expectation for those two players in 2025, understanding the backing that they have of having done something at this point in this league, for Latham having that continuity with Bill Callahan? what is a reasonable jump in expectation for the tackle spots in 2025?
It's crazy because so much is predicated on that, Lucas. It's such a complicated conversation because Dan can have a great set and Peter allows him to get picked and a guy goes in a B gap on Dan and he loses his guy over the middle for a sack. It, to me, is their continuity. Like, that's the biggest judger of how good an offensive lineman is. There are some guys that play on offensive linemen that are just okay because the group is good. They're respected as one of the best in the NFL, and that's where they have to go. And it's hard to give a number, Lucas. It's just one of those situations for an offensive lineman or the group in general. You got to evaluate where you are probably at the midway point or at a bye week and say this is where they are and projected to be at the latter part of the season. If all 5 of those guys can stay healthy, whether that's with Cushenberry or not, Lloyd Cushenberry or not, if they can all stay healthy, then I feel like this group can stay together and get better as a unit. I can throw out a number and say, man, on the ground, if they can run for 2,100 yards as a unit, that's 1,000 piece for each running back. If Calvin can have 1,500 yards, if the sack number is under 30, that's a good year. But, like, even still, they can give up, Lucas, 38 sacks, and this team can go 10-7. That's a damn good year still. You know, like I tell people all the time, and I'm not minimizing what sacks are, but what is a sack if you get him down on 2nd and 7 and the offense goes for a first down? Did the sack hurt you? Not really. Cam gets up, go on to the next play. You protect it on 3rd and long, and we continue the drive moving forward. There's context to be given to the number that's contributed to whoever giving up the sack. When you have a good quarterback, too, he helps you get out of those sacks. He doesn't cause you the pocket to cave or he knows how to escape. It's talking about the O-line is a very hard thing to do because it's not just my position. It's yours, too. I saw yesterday, like I said, that Peter jumped the guy, meaning he attacked first, moved away from the other 4, and he blocked his man, but you had the center's guy attack him at the hip, and his guy loops around for a sack in front of Cam. Technically, Peter did what he was supposed to do, but he broke chain. And that's going to look like it was the right guard's fault, and truthfully, it was Peter's fault. So you see what I'm saying? Like, you got to look at the grand scheme of how they develop as a unit. If all 5 of those guys can play 17 games this season, I think that what everybody's been saying or asking for, make them average.
Yeah.
If you can do that, Cam's going to take a hit. It's just how it goes, too. As good as the quarterback I played for was, he took hits. He's going to get up. You don't want it happening often. But that's a part of their job, too, is to be able to get back up and say, screw it. That's 1 of 72 plays. Get me on the 71 plays better. It sucks. Like, the expectation is, let's find the middle line and go from there, Lucas. And I ain't really give you no answer. It's a wait and see type of situation.
No, but I think you did. Again, people are asking for average.
Yeah.
Titans fans at this point are begging for league average.
League average.
And the fact that it would be such a big jump to get to that point, but you've got a starting 5 right now where I think there's enough confidence in what they've established so far in their careers that is the upside that they can get to that point. Will they be able to come together in a way that allows them to do that throughout the course of training camp, understanding their center is still not with them, and Lloyd Cushenberry. And obviously they're trying to develop in front of a developmental quarterback, a rookie in Cam Ward, who had his struggles, was a little bit better yesterday, but ran into some speed bumps with that defense. And Greg Cosell had something really interesting to say about what the Titans coaching staff is trying to do with the rookie quarterback. We'll hear from Cosell next on 104.5 The Zone. So Greg Cosell has basically been an honorary member of the Tennessee Titans coaching staff the last couple of days. He's left town. It was good to see him at practice on Tuesday and Wednesday. But Moan, I'm talking 7 a.m. in the morning to 7 p.m. at night.
Coach life.
Sitting in meetings. He's got his Titans gear on. We had offensive coordinator Nick Holtz on the show. By the way, welcome back. This is Ramon and Will. I'm Lucas, sitting in for Will. Alongside Ramon Foster, brewed by Scooter's Coffee. We'll be hanging out today and tomorrow from 6 to 10 and enjoying it. But Nick Holtz joined us, me and Buck, yesterday, Titans offensive coordinator, and we joked with him, like, you got to give him a 1099 at this point. Like, he's in there. He's having discussions, and he's getting a front row seat to how this coaching staff is wanting to handle the development of Cam Ward. So we know Cam Ward throws a few interceptions, has a rough day at practice 2 days ago. Yesterday, he bounces back. He bookends practice with good moments, but has some struggles in between. The tipped balls, the tipped-up interception by Cody Barton, intercepted by Roger McCreary. And here's Greg Cosell, who sat in studio with 3HL yesterday, and I'll just play the clip from a question by Don Davenport.
And I'm asking you this as a representative of a fan here. How would you know whether he had a good day or a bad day? Seriously, because you don't know what he's being asked to do. Yeah. You don't know what the defense is being asked to do when Cam Ward is on the field. So if he throws an incompletion or an interception, the assumption is he's having a bad day. That is not necessarily the case at all. So
I think that's very true about yesterday. Today he made some really nice throws.
Right. He's a really good thrower of the football.
Yeah.
Did he miss some throws? Of course. But I can tell you for a fact that one of the things the organization is doing and the coaching staff is doing, and they're doing it intentionally, is they are making things really hard for him quickly. They're doing that intentionally. They're putting him in really difficult situations, a lot of third and longs, which, by the way, third and long in the NFL, teams might convert maybe 21 or 22%. Mm-hmm. So they're doing this intentionally because, number one, they believe that he can handle the fact that he will go through, hey, God, I'm not sure exactly what I'm seeing right now because I've never seen that before. And by the way, Denard Wilson is, in terms of schematics of pressure, is one of the best in the league. They're doing this also because when they go to Tampa, Todd Bowles is also a proven record of being one of the best in the league in terms of pressure concepts. So they want to put as much on Cam Ward's plate as possible. So, I think people have to understand one thing, that what training camp is for a lot of players, but certainly for rookie quarterbacks, is about failure and learning. That's what training camp is about. So coaches never they don't think in terms of failure. Oh, he had a bad day. They think in terms of, this is now a great learning way now. Now we see this, he sees it, we have it on tape, we sit with him, we go over it. It's all about the learning. I don't know what do people think that a rookie quarterback is going to come in and know everything and therefore be great on every snap?
That's what
I mean, clearly, they do.
That's patently absurd.
I got that written down. How hard is it to remember that he's a rookie quarterback?
Right.
Exactly.
He's never seen this before. He's never seen this before.
So that's Greg Cosell. After spending a lot of time with the Titans coaching staff, watching Cam Ward on the practice field and digesting the tape afterwards. Does that in any way change what you take away from Cam Ward's last couple of practices? Does it alter how you're going to watch Cam Ward's next practice? Or for you, is that par for the course, having obviously been a part of multiple NFL training camps?
It's so par for the course. Like, that's boring to a lot of fans. So why would you want to make him fail? Or you're supposed to set him up for success. That's just not how it works in this league. Again, if we don't expose you to what we also know is your weaknesses, then we're flagrant. Then we put out a bad product out there. I think the contrast to that, Lucas, is I felt like last year they highlighted too much of what were Will Levis's attributes. The deep balls, his ability to roll, his ability to just be tough guy as it pertains to his play. And they didn't overexpose those moments like that last year. This is the other side of it. Callahan, I'm hoping, is a better coach with a level-headed understanding of what it takes to bring a guy through the fire. I went back just to look at one of the greatest ever to play this game and how his rookie year went. In this state, it relates. Peyton Manning. 16 games. You remember? You probably do. What was his record as a rookie starter? out of 16 games.
The interception record?
No, just in general. Their record as a team.
Oh, like 3-13 or something?
Yes. He completed just above, I think, like 57% of his passes his rookie year. This is and he turned into a Hall of Fame. I'm looking at his freaking accolades right now. 14 Pro Bowls, 7 All-Pro Bowls, 7 All-Pros first teams. Like, it turns into that. You got to have, like, I tell people, like, scars are good. You know what I'm saying? Like, we say, well, Shark Week is coming up as another camp thing too, Lucas, that I always correlate to training camp. Shark Week is going on right now. But they speak about, like, the big sharks in the ocean. You know what they have on them? Scars from fights and battles. You don't survive in any setting, Lucas, without battle scars, without negativity. That's how this game goes. If you want to be the best of the best, again, there are ways to sift those guys out. It's to put them in the failure moments and watch them crumble. We've witnessed that time and time again. As high of highs that Ryan Tannehill gave this fan base, he never came back from those 3 interceptions. Some guys fold in those moments right there. If you don't get that out of them as soon as possible, I think Vrabel went too far with it from time to time. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's that side of it, too. You can just beat a guy down in his method, but you also got to go after a certain type of guys that can handle that stuff. Cosell, again, you said it earlier, he's in on these meetings. He's not just talking to have a radio conversation with 3HL or with y'all or with us.
Yeah. And he, Cosell's not again, like, they meet after practice, coaches and players do. Cosell is not next to Brian Callahan every time he talks to Cam Ward, but he's getting to spend time around that building, and he has talked to Brian Callahan, has a relationship with him. So it's not to say that he's literally been a member of the coaching staff without getting the compensation for it. It's simply to say he's had a unique perspective over the last couple of days.
Fly on the wall.
Yeah.
He hear conversations is what's going on right there. I'd much rather be this process, to be quite honest with you, Lucas, to see if he's the guy for the next 5 years early on. Because you know what? In 3 years, if Cam Ward ain't the dude, we're going to draft another one.
Yeah.
That's just how the game goes.
So how do we separate learning moments in terms of the failures that happen in training camp versus moments that bring concern for the upcoming season? We'll talk about that. Coming up next, we'll continue to react to Cam Ward's day of practice yesterday. 615-737-1045 is how you jump in. It's Ramon and Will on 1045, The Zone. Brent's like, don't say he's in meetings. Like, Cosell and Holtz were like joking about how he's basically a part of the coaching staff this week. Like, do you have one coming up right here? I just had to recut that. We're good. What's up? Summer is a time to. You should be good. We should be good. So Mike was like, we have a second kit. So Paul was like, Kirby, I need you to take the second kit and go set it up tomorrow. Like, don't need you to stay. Don't need you to do anything. I just need you to set it up. And he hasn't responded yet. But he's mad as fuck. He's mad as fuck because another man's telling him what to do. But that's the position you put yourself in, where somebody else has to tell you what to do. So Joseph will break it down. Yes. So we.
You want me to respond to Brent? It's like, I heard Holtz yesterday said that he is in the meeting.
Yeah, I'll respond too.
You got him?
Hot mic on stream is what Joseph just texted me. From that 629-348 hair.
It is 9:01. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. NFL football returns to the gridiron tonight as the Hall of Fame game between the Los Angeles Chargers and Detroit Lions will be played at the Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium in Canton, Ohio. Chargers head coach Jim Harbaugh announced that Trey Lance will get the start at quarterback for the Chargers. And for the Lions, Hendon Hooker is expected to split reps with Kyle Allen at quarterback. Kickoff is set for 7 p.m. Central Time on NBC. And you can, of course, hear that game right here on 104.5 The Zone, courtesy of Westwood One. And Tennessee Titans news. The Titans are off today, but they'll be back at practice tomorrow morning at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park for practice at 9:15 a.m. Head coach Brian Callahan will speak to the media ahead of practice at 8:55. In other NFL news this morning, per multiple reports, former Seattle Seahawks tight end Noah Fant is signing with the Cincinnati Bengals. Fant is a former first-round draft pick of the Denver Broncos back in 2019, was traded to Seattle in 2022, but was released earlier this month. Now Fant becomes a new target for quarterback Joe Burrow. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Final hour off and running. Ramon and Will on 104.5 The Zone. Lucas Panzica hanging out today and tomorrow to step in as Will Bowling takes a couple days off alongside Ramon Foster. Justin Hawkins is our producer on the other side of the glass. We just heard Greg Cosell talking about what the Titans are trying to do with Cam Ward in training camp, trying to put him in positions, I say to fail, but that's what it is.
Let's to overcome bad situations. Not fail. Like
to overcome bad situations, which Cam Ward is. We're finding him in the midst of at this situation or at this point in time. Yeah. So I guess the question is, how do we draw that line between watching a practice like the last couple of days, where there was improvement, by the way, yesterday from what we saw on Tuesday? But how do we draw that line between taking that in and understanding, okay, this is what you do with the rookie quarterback versus it crossing that threshold of being a point of concern ahead of the season? Because I come back to Moan, joint practices against the Seahawks last year and several moments in training camp last year where it can be so easy to write off quarterback interceptions in camp and in joint practices because you say, listen, this is what this is for. This is what camp is for. But in the end, that came to fruition when the lights came on. The 2-minute drill against the Seahawks in joint practice where Will Levis's first pass of the drill, pick six, practice over. That came to fruition in 2024. Is there any way to draw that line in camp?
Yes, it is. Lucas, because, again, your practice habits follow you. They do. Just simply put, sometimes your footwork, your eyes, what you see, how you get tricked and stuff like that. That's just a part of all game plans as it pertains to the game in general. I will say the things that could be of concern for me is this, and it's all in his delivery of the plays that he's trying to make. It is, does he know where to go to with the football when his wide receivers have been shut down? Seeing that be a part of his game. Will he throw it away or will he try to make a play? The things that we saw him do in college, right? The more concerning thing to me is Jimmy Wyatt's his observations that he has daily. I think he has his, I'm trying to pull it up real quick. He had the other day his percentages, completions to incompletions. I think he's, whatever it is, it's like 57%. That could be something that I don't know if we're going to overplay it if he's throwing about 58, 57% during the course of the season, but that's where he is right now in training camp. That could be problematic for people thinking that Coach Callahan is or is not a quarterback developer because, hey, Will Levis sat around 55% too. That's something that we got to keep our eye on. Will Cam make the smart decisions with the football when it comes down to him delivering? And the other part is the mechanical side of him throwing. Is it going to be a problem? Or will defensive linemen sniff out the fact that his trajectory of the ball is low, especially in short routes, and there's tipped interceptions often? Those types of things, I think those two, Lucas, are the things we have to track from training camp to the game because your point about the Will Levis side of this thing, it showed. Tannehill's showed from time to time. I am cautious about that side of it, Lucas, most definitely. Does it bother you?
I mean,
are we there yet?
Right. No, we're not. I mean, that's the thing. We're over a week into training camp. I guess for me, where you start to come away with some concerns, because at some point, like, we can only work with information we're given. And I understand the information we're giving doesn't have all the context around it. We don't know the context of what positions or situations they're trying to put Cam Ward into specifically. And that's a huge part of this. But at some point, Moan, there's got to be a breaking point, right? Where if we're in the last week of camp or the second preseason game, and a lot of this stuff continues, where we say, okay, are there some red flags going up here? And it doesn't mean that improvement can't be found in the midst of a rookie season. Everybody's developmental path is different. Look at Bryce Young right now in Carolina. Imagine telling a Panthers fan and just laying out Bryce Young's stat line for his second season as a starter. That's it. You just tell them, hey, second year as a starter, here's the record, here's the touchdown versus interceptions. I think there would be a meltdown.
It would.
I think they'd say we drafted a bust. That's not the case right now. Right. There's optimism in Carolina about the way they finished their season. I know no moral victories in football and all of those things, but it was moral victory season last year for the Panthers, coming up short against the Chiefs and the Eagles, but pushing those teams to the brink and getting something out of your quarterback, being competitive in those games. So everybody's path is different. But for this season, for the here and now, what you can get out of Cam Ward this season, I guess that's ultimately the question we're trying to answer in camp. When it's all said and done and our attention officially turns to week 1 against the Broncos, have we seen enough in training camp to feel optimistic about the trajectory or the pace that Cam Ward is on developmentally as a young quarterback? And it's definitely too early to answer that.
It is. And Cosell alluded to it in his conversation with 3HL yesterday, too. It's just like even us, Lucas, being there every single day, I know we all communicate with people inside and outside of that building. Heck, Buck and you might have communications directly with guys inside. We still don't know what's a good or bad practice. Like Cosell said that. What's good or bad for Cam at this point? And the other part of it is there's a lot of weight added to Cam based on the fact that he is a quarterback. He's a rookie quarterback. Do we give the same grace that we did to a guy like JC at that position? More times than no, we don't. We don't, because we want those guys because of what we saw, because of Jeff Darlington's take, wanting to be C.J. Stroud and what's his Jaden Daniels. Those are the things we're looking for. But there is a lead up to that. A lot of people think C.J. Stroud receded last year. They don't see him, that year he had last year is a better year than he did in year 1. What's going to be the adjustment to what Jaden Daniels is in year 2 also? There's a pathway to making yourself better. I brought up the Peyton Manning stats of him being just above, I think, 55% as it pertains, or 58% as it pertains to his completion percentage. After that, I think he was 60+ and never fell back. That's what you're looking for in those moments right there. So it's fascinating, man, on how he's going to be judged. And I just also think it's decided for Cameron Ward is this fan base is longing for somebody to show. And we always go back to them. They're longing for somebody to be Steve McNair. And there's a lot of wonder in that. There's a lot of happiness in just thinking this guy's going to be it. But there's a lead up to getting to that point, man. Just looking at it real quick, just the percentages that Peyton Manning was at. 56.7 that rookie year. 26 touchdowns and 28 interceptions. I wonder how Indianapolis press was. If we could go back to, 1998? And on top of the Vols winning the national championship without him. Can you imagine the year that Peyton Manning had in 98?
Yeah, it's a good point. Just to pull up a newspaper clipping from October of 1998 in Indianapolis.
Yeah, and then Peyton, they won it without you, Peyton. But after that, man, this dude reeled off with 26 and 15 the next year. And, I mean, he didn't even win Rookie of the Year his rookie year, Peyton Manning.
Not even close.
So the story that I feel like the Titans are trying to write is patience. Cam is even delivering the message, and we're not listening to it. He said the practice was mid. Like, that's him bringing, I think, the fan base back. Like, y'all, look, I'm not there. I'm going to make mistakes. The concern is if his mechanics carry over to defenses having a trend on how to defend him. Linebackers sitting on routes because they know this offense potentially may want to go fast and quick. And Coach Callahan said out loud they want to make this offense Miami Hurricanes for Cam Ward. We're going to dissect everything he did in college. We did that. When guys were new into the league and we knew they were a guy, we went back and looked at the college tape to see what their trends were, or if there was a new defensive coordinator that came up from college. We would look at film from Ohio State or wherever they were from just to see what the tendencies are. That's what they're looking for. So if Cam can break those tendencies of having a football tipped at the line of scrimmage, that's something I think that's more important than his wins, losses, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, and Cam Ward's level of defenses he was facing last year, including in practice against his own team, that dreadful Miami defense. Yeah. When you look at a guy like Jaden Daniels playing in the SEC, it's an adjustment for him, but the step up he had to take in the defenses he was facing, very different from what Cam Ward has seen. It's a bigger gap, I think, in terms of what he was seeing last year versus what he's seeing now against the Titans defense that had its struggles last year. This is not one of the elite defenses in the NFL, and you're seeing those struggles because it's still a step up from what he's seen in the past, and that's only going to get elevated when they have joint practices against the Bucs and Todd Bowles throws the kitchen sink at him in Week 1 against the Broncos, who arguably were the best defense in the NFL last year. The thing that people don't want to hear, I guess, is the only answer on this is going to be time. Jaden Daniels was slow out of the gates last year.
I didn't think he was going to be that.
Bo Nix was slow out of the gates last year. There were struggles early on. They were surrounded by good football teams, well-coached teams, veteran coaches with Sean Payton and Dan Quinn, and they found ways to win in those games, in some of those games. Cam Ward opens up against that Broncos defense, and then he's got to play the Rams. Yeah. That introduction to the NFL, there are going to be sobering moments. Like, we want to see Cam Ward bounce back and have a good response for the rest of training camp and have downs and then bounce back with the ups. But there's going to be similar moments to what we're seeing now in Denver in Week 1 and at home against the Rams.
You know what we should do at the end of these during these joint practices against Atlanta and Tampa Bay? Go look at the photo dumps from the camera crews. I wonder if they do get the best of Cam, because this defense, the Titans defense, is doing it to him. The fanning off thing that he does, his celebration, I wonder how many pictures will be of that, of them doing it to him. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a target for the guy. Lucas, you've been to the practices. When they get a one-up on Cam Ward, what are they doing? I think it was either Zach or 3HL yesterday said when Jarvis Brownlee, on the pick, Jarvis Brownlee yesterday goes into the huddle just head knocking Cam in his face, just looking at him like, oh, it's Brent. I think is who was speaking about him, Brent Daughter. But afterwards, Brent had the conversation with Jarvis Brownlee, and he was speaking about the moxie that Cam Ward plays with and how he's a competitor. None of that bothers him. It don't matter to those guys on the other side. They trying to get active. They trying to get an interception and get an autographed ball from Cameron Ward right now. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's where they are. And as much as he can handle that as a player on this team, it'll be better during the season because those guys going to be at his neck, man. I've seen how guys go at TJ Watt because of his brother. You know what I'm saying? JJ, I got to try him. That's you little Watt. It's the way they got it. Or guys that come in with high accolades like Marquise. Oh, you a rookie that's starting at center? They used to put Vince Wilfork over the top of him just to see it. That's how the league is. They got to do a heat check, man. They have to, and it has to happen often for Cam Ward in training camp right now.
615-737-1045 for you to chime in. Speaking of Jarvis Brownlee, he brings some juice. He likes to talk trash, and like you said, Brent talked to him about exactly that. But there were allegations yesterday of practice maybe being a little flat, maybe lacking some energy. We'll take your phone calls. We'll get Ramon's thoughts on that next on 104.5 The Zone. 615-737-1045. Overanalyzing 2 training camp practices in July. That's what we're doing. That's what we love. Hall of Fame game tonight. Football on your televisions, on your radio. Chargers and Lions. You can hear the Westwood One call right here on 104.5 The Zone. And we want to hear from you. Again, 615-737-1045 is how you jump in. Lucas Panzica filling in for Will Bowling today alongside Vol Network analyst Ramon Foster. Justin Hawkins is our producer as we go right to the phones, starting with Chris calling all the way from California to talk about Cam Ward. Good morning, Chris.
Morning, Chris.
What's up, gentlemen? Moan, how you doing? Congrats on the gig, man.
I appreciate that, man. Looking forward to it this fall, man. Don't judge me too hard in year 1 like Cam Ward, okay?
No, man. I got the high expectations on the planet. You're the number 1 draft pick, brother.
I like it, Chris.
That's true.
Bringing it, man.
Hey, I need you. I need y'all for this. So I listened to an inferior radio station in the area that had the same topic about Cam Ward and his 6 picks. So I called in, and I asked him a pretty simple question. I thought it was, at least. You got Peyton Manning. I know he's a Hall of Famer, but that guy, did he not have the rookie record for picks? That's correct, isn't it?
It was up there. 28 is what he had.
That's the rookie record.
Okay. So that's his rookie season, and we all know how he ended up. That's a fact. Okay. Let's take it into a different little realm. We're just talking about high talent athletes out of college. Jameis Winston. That guy threw 30 picks and 30 touchdowns in the same year, but he was talented enough to hang around. So I called in and asked, hey, do you think it's somewhere between Jameis Winston and Peyton Manning, what we should expect for our boy number 1 Ward? And, man, I got slapped. They put it to me like he wasn't even remotely close to either 2 of those guys, and he was way down the yard. So I just want your opinion, man. I mean, if we could get a comp, and I know they're never perfect, well, what's your opinion on that? Where do you think he's going to fall? Best guess, first year. Wow. I'll hang up and listen. Thank you.
That's fascinating.
Thanks,
right
Chris.
There. Camp is so weird, man, because we're doing what Coach Mack tells us not to do, Chris. We're being IEs, instant evaluators. I think we want to answer so bad because of the expectation laid down for guys before him, especially recently. There's been such an influx of young quarterbacks having to be the guy so soon that I feel like they think everybody has to take the same pathway to get what they want. But not every team is built the same, too. So, Chris, you're asking me where I think a guy like Cam Ward falls. With the healthy offensive line, with the support of the run game, he gets dragged to the finish line, I think, more this year than he does actually carrying a team because he just don't know. That's the part of this game that's super complex for people to say he's below either one of those guys as it pertains to how you want to judge him in 2 days of padded practice. I said on our show to Will, when Will was in, I said, Will, I actually like the fact that the defense is dragging him because the defense is going to have to be the ones that get him the ball back in moments where he's probably going to turn it over. They're working hard right now. You can tell them raking the ball out of the receivers and running backs' arms when they're running to focus on getting turnovers so that they can give the ball back to the offense because you're dealing with a rookie quarterback. Where Cam Ward falls to me, I'll be quite honest, looking at the athlete that he is and how he plays his game and the expectation of Coach Brian Callahan and Nick Holtz and Bo Hardigree as his coaches. If he turns into Bo Nix, you live that life. Lucas, you said it earlier. Bo had a shaky start. He had a very shaky start. This team, the way it's built or the history of it as of recent, the last 3 years, is closer, if we can be quite honest, Lucas, to where the Carolina Panthers were. And then they got optimism at the end of last year for Bryce Young, too. You're in between me. You're in between, I think, just slightly above what Bryce Young was, but living in the neighborhood of Bo Nix, if we want to compartmentalize it like that.
And Nix didn't throw a touchdown pass till his 4th start last year. And if it's not for Jaden Daniels making history, Bo Nix is your rookie of the year.
That's what
your offensive rookie of the year. 4 interceptions in his first 3 games, had a couple of rushing touchdowns, but his first touchdown pass came in week 4 at the Jets, a 10-9 win for the Broncos, in which Bo Nix went 12 of 25 for 60 yards and a touchdown.
Bro, say that one more time. I was looking at you talk, but I wasn't listening, Lucas.
I know that game. I do that every damn day, Mo. 12 of 25 for 60 yards and a touchdown in week 4 in a 1-point win at the lowly Jets.
Bro.
And then it clicked. And then from week 5 and onwards, Bo Nix was a machine and only got better as the season went on, and it culminated with that incredible performance. I I guess I'm hesitant to say they were playing Chiefs third stringers, but that shutout blowout win against the Chiefs. Bo Nix was fantastic in that overtime loss in Cincinnati against the Bengals that second to last week of the year. Point is, the Broncos feel good about what they have in Bo Nix. There's going to be a slow start for Cam. It's just, he, again, is facing two of the best fronts in the NFL, weeks 1 and 2. It's hard to draw up, given what we knew about the Titans' schedule going in. Like, before the schedule release, if you were to say, okay, what would be worst case scenario for the first two defenses? Like, Broncos and Rams are right up there. They're two of the 3 or 4 that you're going to name in terms of weeks 1 and 2, especially on the road in your first career NFL start. I do love the premise of that question, though, that he'll land somewhere in between Jameis Winston and Peyton. That is a wide range. I'd say probably.
Yeah. But to your point a second ago, too, Lucas, like you brought up, like RG3 jumped out hot. Robert Griffin III jumped out hot. Now we got Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, it is such a fascinating just pathway to being successful in this league. And, boy, like, I'm not saying he's one or the other. I'm saying he's falling between Bryce Young and Bo Nix to me, and that's a real good place to be in. Bryce Young was bad. Bo Nix was bad and got really good. If Cameron Ward sits somewhere on that scale, Lucas, you've lived properly is what I'm telling you in a situation like that, man. It is I can't wait till the season starts off, Lucas. Like, I'm so ready to see it in the stadium, too. And here's the other part about all of that. Everything that he's doing in practice, there's also the stadium adjustment he has to get ready for, too. There is a difference in playing inside of a stadium. The adrenaline is real because the cameras are on. The crowd is there. The judging of 30,000 people probably in a preseason game hits a little bit different. The pre-production meetings that you got to go to, all of that is a part of it. And then it's not a script anymore. You're running vanilla offenses and defenses against each other to compete. And the sacks get real too, Lucas. They can get hit. The quarterbacks can in preseason games. So there's a lot that he has to adjust to in year one.
615-737-1045. Back to the phones. We go with Jim up next. Hey, Jim.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Morning, Jim.
My question is, I keep hearing about energy, but then I hear about how the guys in practice are really putting a hard effort on from the defense to shut Cam down and to really make it tough. So are the guys more like in a workman-like attitude, and they're not worried about this, whatever you call energy, or is energy really missing?
That's fascinating.
Thanks for the call, Jim.
Lucas, what did you see on it? Because I feel like I've talked a ton, and I'm just like, I feel like, not that I'm preaching, but I'm like, what did you see before I give my take on energy?
Yeah, so we were up on the SeatGeek Terrace yesterday, and I watched most of practice from up there. In terms of the team drills, just a better vantage point on how they're lining up, who's lining up where. But you're just a little further removed from the sideline where we're able to sit there up close and personal to watch practice. So maybe I don't have the best vantage point for this. But Buck came up before the show and said, now they're flat out there. There's just not a sense of urgency. And we talked about it a little bit on the show. And I don't think he's the only one to have that opinion. I heard one or two others talking amongst themselves about it down on the sideline. Like, just not a lot of juice, right? Those first couple days in pads, you want to hear people shouting and barking and, just there be a little bit of that fire. And some people felt like they didn't have it. I think I was a little more aligned with Jim. It just kind of felt like they're just head down, workman-like approach, just working on stuff. The most fiery moment, I feel like, might have been towards the end of practice. No. It's always Mason Kinsey. Mason Kinsey, touchdown to the near pylon, and offensive players are mobbing him. Defensive players are saying, no, it was incomplete. And, just that moment was probably the loudest moment of the practice. But I don't know. I hear that, and I think there could be something to that. Maybe there's fair criticism. Maybe you want to feel more urgency. But also, is it a matter of if there aren't any fights, we're saying the practice lacked juice? I don't know, because plenty of juice last year, Moan. And Jeffrey Simmons isn't getting kicked out of practice, and he gets into another fight, and it just turns into one thing after the next. And next thing you know, he's trying to pick a fight with Buck over there at our broadcast setup. So that didn't feel very productive to me last year. I am enjoying watching them actually get work in this year. And the answer, like it usually is, maybe is just somewhere in the middle, that maybe you'd want a little more juice and energy. You want to feel a little more. Yeah. Also, it just feels like they're just kind of getting work in. I mean,
that's what
you're more well-equipped to talk about this than anybody.
I thought they just got working yesterday. And here's the other part of it, too. I think we're so used to this defense just being loud and popping all the time that when they're not, that it's a bad practice. And I thought it was because of this reason. I thought the offense started off the practice really, really good. That's why I feel like because they were more methodical in their operation early on than they were later in is when it got a little bit louder later when you had the pick six in the red zone area and stuff like that, right? There was liveliness to it. I thought the way Cam threw the ball, his connection with his receivers from time to time, I thought was good. The offense, and again, it's because it's boring and it's non-Cam. The offense had explosive plays in the run game on the ground. I saw click-clacking from Andrew Rupsich pulling and pinning guys and hitting them. I saw Peter Skoronski get out in space. I saw Chikakonko peel back and knock guys off the ball. It's what you want. To me, what I felt we saw yesterday was an Indianapolis Colts Peyton Manning era offense being at work. The crowd gets quiet, and they were operating the way you needed them to is what I saw. I didn't think there was a need yesterday for the huffing and puffing and the pushing and fighting and stuff like that yesterday. It was, to me, in my perspective, the way I viewed it, the offense had a better day to start the practice off. Yesterday, or 2 days ago, the first day of pads was, number one, the 4th of July. Can we just say that too? It was downhill. They had a designated run period where the defense knew the offense had no option but to hand the football off. And what did we see? We saw Cody Barton in the backfield. We saw Reese in the backfield. We saw Devondre Sweat and Jeff in the backfield because they knew this is a run period and they were hyped up to get those first hits out the way. And what happened the next day? The response from the offense. It settled them down a little bit more, in my personal opinion. The defense, I felt like, was more on their heels early, and that is naturally, sorry, defensive players and defensive lovers, they're usually the loudest, most rambunctious group out there. Offensive players, and I say this jokingly, but I somewhat mean it too, more cerebral. You got to have 11 players on offense doing the same thing for the play to work. Defensively, who knows if Jeff or Tavondre were supposed to go through the A-gap to make that tackle. A misplay from them can be a positive. A misplay for the offense is a screw-up, and everybody sees it. I thought they had better communication and execution early on, which is why you saw the defense, I'm going to say it, screw it, in retreat mode. I thought they survived early on. The defense finished the practice a whole lot better. You let me know if I'm wrong in my assessment.
I think the defense grappled control.
They did.
Yeah, offense started hot, like you said, breaking play. Might have been their best day in the run game offensively. Yeah,
easily.
But the meat of the practice, the defense kind of settled back in and stifled a lot of things that they were doing.
Yes, there was a little bit more give and take yesterday. The energy I thought was good. The one-on-ones were solid. Arden Key set the tone. Speaking of that, we ain't get to that. Arden Key set the tone on Dan Moore.
Yeah, in
yesterday
one-on-ones.
In the one-on-ones, did he not? And everybody talked about Dan getting pushed back. I got a take about that though too, real quick. Speaking of setting tones and loud and energy, Arden yesterday chose to walk on the prison yard and pick the biggest man out and said, I'm going to knock him out. I love that. I absolutely love that. And this has always been my thing. I've said it on this show. I've said it as a player. I've coached players to do the exact same thing. Whatever you show me in practice, you better show me in the game. I don't know how many times, and I'll have to go back and look if I have the time or even think about it, to see how many times we've seen a defensive end on this team. And I go at Arden and say, how many times have you chose to run down the middle of a guy and actually got a sack in those moments? That was a camp rep yesterday that everybody said, Darren got pushed back. If you do that in practice, you better show me in the game. It's always the philosophy. How many times have you seen him do that move, Lucas, that you've been following him in the Tennessee Titans jersey?
Yeah, not many.
Not many. That's the other side of what training camp is, too. Sometimes you just pick a fight just for the hell of it. Just because, man, I want to get my one rep and get my win and move over to the sideline. And he did that against Dan yesterday. But I tell you what, did we hear about that in the 11-on-11 stuff from Dan Moore and Arden Key?
No.
No,
we didn't.
That's more context to how camp goes at times. You pick and choose when you're going to win and lose battles sometimes. It's just how it goes, or you know what, you got me. And it's a war of attrition, and it's long as hell. This camp is they're day 2 of pads, Lucas.
Day 2 of pads in the July heat. And look, the joint practice next week will be a great litmus test of that.
It will be.
Doesn't get more high energy, more juice, more fire than when you get to line up against a different opponent. So we'll see what that looks like in Tampa and what will probably be even hotter conditions down there. I am curious. We talk all the time about the one-on-ones when it comes to receivers versus defensive backs. Receivers kind of have the inherent advantage there. Is that the case one way or another with offensive linemen and defensive linemen or pass rushers?
Well, if you listen to them liars, they're going to say we got
Yeah, I know what I'm saying. Is this a thing where, like, if I ask Javon Curse or something, that he'll say it's
the O-line because we know the snap count. Well, watch the ball then, okay? That's what you're supposed to be doing anyway. I think that the advantage goes to the defense because of the way you can approach it. Like I said, I saw yesterday and other days and guys with me, they just choose to run down the middle of you. And like stopping a bull rush is not something you do every single play because I usually have a center or guard or tackle or tight end beside me in those moments. A guy can just choose to run down your face. And you know what you say to that guy? Well, you better do it in the game. I haven't seen you do these things in the game. I've seen guys pull out moves before and pass, one-on-one pass rush that they never will attempt in a football game. And that's because you're in a space against a better athlete that you got to block for 3 seconds before the coach blow the whistle. Most times the ball is out, 1,001, 1,002, gone. Even on a 5 and 7 step drop sometimes, or you're getting help. You're in a lot of space and you're retreating in a drill that you know you got to throw the ball at. If I continue to just pull and jerk a guy down to the ground, then they're going to be mad. Well, I saw your head down and you was about to bull rush me through my chest. I think the advantage in a one-on-one pass rush goes to the defense. So what I will say is this. I got to respect Peter and also Zeitler and what they're attempting to do this offseason. I actually mentioned it to Peter yesterday after practice. He was walking by, like, he's on guys quick. He's starting to fight with them so that he doesn't get that pushback. I do want to see how he will settle down. I mentioned on air, man, I'm looking at Peter Skoronski. He's literally shaking in his stance. His hands are trembling. I was like, bro, why are you doing it? He's like, man, I'm just trying to stay engaged, so I'm not stopping. I'm forever moving. Some guys don't believe in the concept of stop movement to get going. I've seen defensive linemen wag their hands back and forth because if momentum is already going, then I'm already in a moving moment. And I think Peter is somewhat adopting that a little bit in his stance. He said, I hope I don't get called for a false start. I'm like, I don't think they can get you for hands. But that is a level of engagement I've seen from him to where he's starting to fight way more than I think I've seen any other guard go. And I played with a guy in David DeCastro who's an all-pro Pro Bowler. He would jump guys quickly to get them started, get them stopped.
Interesting. I hadn't thought about that, especially from the offensive lineman's perspective. There is another competition potentially brewing on the Titans roster with some news we received yesterday. We'll tell you what that is and your last chance to get in with a phone call, 615-737-1045 as we wrap up the show next on 1045 The Zone. Final segment, wrapping things up on Ramon and Will, 104.5 The Zone, brewed by Scooter's Coffee. Yeah. 615-737-1045 is how you jump in. I'm not Will Bowling, if you haven't noticed yet.
No.
Lucas Panzica hanging out with Ramon Foster today and tomorrow. I think I got the hang of this morning radio thing, though.
What'd you think of the 4 hours?
He flew by, man.
It flew? Okay, all right. Just making sure, man. I hope you weren't in here just crawling on the ground trying to get to the doors like, I can't do it, mommy.
We're not. A little respite from hanging out with Buck for 3 hours, too.
That'll do. Oh, yeah. That's probably the best part of this thing, huh?
We're not digging ditches, too, as they say.
Absolutely. I got a question for you, man. You mentioned something I've been so tempted to try, but I'm scared. Scaredy Cat Central over here. You mentioned you took melatonin.
Uh-huh.
Everybody I know said you have the weirdest
dreams. Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah, weirdest dreams.
I'll pass.
100%.
I'll pass.
I'll only do it in an extreme situation like that. If I get a 3 a.m. alarm for a flight, and I'm like, I'd love to be asleep by 8 o'clock, and like I'm not wired. I can't fall asleep.
You stay wired. You stay on till your mind.
10:30 is the earliest I can legitimately eyes shut, be asleep.
Okay.
So it's weird. It's the dreams are so weird that you feel awake in them. It's like I don't feel like I'm sleeping. It's one of the. It's just I can't even explain it. I think you should do it. I think you should just experiment, just toy with it.
Oh my god!
Do it tonight, and we'll open the show with it tomorrow.
Very mid right now.
Yeah, I'll probably be mid. No grogginess.
No, I'm good. I'm good, baby. I got my 7 hours. I was in bed, eyes shut, 9 o'clock, probably asleep by 9:30. Up at 4:30.
Good to go.
Good to go. And we will be good to go from Titans practice tomorrow. The Titans have added a practice for the media tomorrow, so we will be broadcasting live from Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. Looking forward to seeing a potential Cam Ward bounce back. We'll have football to react to somewhat. We'll see what Hendon Hooker does tonight in the Hall of Fame game.
For sure.
And maybe we'll have our eye on the kicking situation for the Titans because according to NFL.com, the Titans worked out 2 kickers yesterday. They are Michael Hughes, an undrafted rookie out of App State, and Cade York, who's been here before, a couple years ago, about 5 minutes on the Titans practice squad in 2023. Kicked in 6 games in the 2024 season, 1 for Washington, 5 for Cincinnati, where he was good for Cincinnati, filling in for, it's escaping me, the name of the Cincinnati kicker, former Florida kicker, McPherson.
Oh, I was about to say, you consider them football players? Never mind. My bad.
Hey, now.
My bad. I won't do that.
Cade York converted 90.4% of his field goals last year. Along of 59, made 14 of his 15 extra points in only 5 games with the Cincinnati Bengals. He did miss a potential game winner in overtime against the Broncos in Week 17. Bengals did end up winning that game. Joey Sly was brought in by this coaching staff this offseason, particularly, you would imagine, with influence from John Bones Fossil, the special teams coordinator. To you, is there any red alert on a legitimate kicking competition, or is it still, this is Joey Sly's job to lose, you're looking for a guy in the practice squad?
The fact that Joey Sly hit a 62-inch stadium.
Yeah, 66.
66.
With room to spare.
By the way, Brett Kern's conversation with you guys yesterday.
Full-on special teams preview.
Phenomenal. I hadn't been that intent on listening to somebody give out information than he did yesterday when he was speaking of the hitting yardage game about the 40 yards here is 4 first downs or 400 yards is 40 first down. I was just like, break it down, my brother. Keep going. Hell yeah, more. That's what I was thinking, man. No, for real, Lucas. I was locked in on him talking about the hidden yardage game, man. But with that being said, no, I look at Joey Sly's situation with what coach special team coaches
Bones
Fossil is bringing to it. It's probably a situation where you want to see, in case something happens to Joey Sly, what the other guys are capable of doing. You just never know with kickers, man, as much as they do kick on the side and pre-practice and everything else, if there is a strain somewhere, you got to have a contingency plan. This is an opportunity, man, for a guy like Cade York and them to be in a position to show that they still got it in case they need to be called upon. And also, the other part of it is, preseason work. They're about to travel to hotter situations. If you do sign somebody or bring somebody in, that you are readily available and you can at least see what their mentality is. Those tryouts, man, I never been through one, but just hearing about them, they are strenuous. They can really push you into the dirt and figure out what you are. Hey, kick from this angle. Can you do this? drop it into this zone. I heard Brett Kern speaking about that yesterday, like kickoffs and the way the game goes, dropping the football in that 20-yard marker that they have to hit right now. So in case a guy like Joey Sly gets tired, or it's 100% injury rate for most of everybody in the NFL, this is a plan for the future. I think tryouts is what they had.
Got a big leg, Joey Sly. The consistency wasn't exactly last year and for most of his career what Nick Folk brought the Titans. Right. But, I mean, as you heard in that conversation with Brett, factors that we don't think about, rookie holder, what the long snapper situation was, wind conditions, all of these factors. So we'll see if Joey Sly can slot right in, because it's big shoes to fill with a kicker that converted 50 of 52 field goals in the last 2 years. And Nick Folk, who turns 41 this season, is now a New York Jet.
I'm so glad I wasn't in with y'all having that conversation, because I had so many questions. He's talking about the way Morgan Cox snaps the ball. 8 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock.
Yeah, it was as in-depth as in-depth goes with special teams.
He's speaking of filling the laces.
Yeah.
Morgan, he said, of all the times he caught for Morgan, only missed it 3 times.
Technician, your former teammate.
You think you guys can do these jobs? There's a lot of detail, man, that's normal to guys in these moments. 16 years for Morgan, too.
Yeah, 16 years, man. The only Titans member of the, wasn't it the all-NFL, like, 21st century team? Mm-hmm. I think Morgan Cox was the only Titan that got on there, that long snapper. So,
hey, I know they got these kicking camps in schools and stuff right now. Hearing Brett Kern speak about it yesterday, there may be more. He needs to start his own, is what I would tell him. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, Brett's getting some work in.
He's doing lessons and stuff.
With the youths.
The youths, as I like to call them.
We'll be getting work in tomorrow, broadcasting live from Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. We'll watch Cam Ward. We'll tell you what we see. Brent Hubbs talking about the start of Vols fall camp. A lot to get to. And coming up next, Buck and Robert will waste 3 hours of your time. Moan, it's been fun, man.
It has been, man. By the way, it's Big Skull's birthday today, too. Peter Skoronski's birthday, they tweeted out. But as we learned today, Lucas, your Twitter fingers and your mic and your camera mic is always hot.